Yesterday, the dudes are so hot. I was like, I might just have to go in this private bathroom and rub one out. Like it's like that.
And why is this not being talked about on the podcast?
Right, and she over there tapping her foot underneath the stall. Tap, tap, tap in. I know that's right. You know this will be the opening.
Hey, it's Landon. I'm back and I'm not high, so I want to know, aunties, what's brewing today?
Drag Race All-Star 7.
Black and remote work.
And Ask Yo Aunteas, rent boyfriend. So get your cups ready for Minority Report. Hey, welcome to Minority Report. It's Auntie Carell.
Hey, it's Auntea Dawon.
And it's Auntea Landon, who's not high this time.
And she tried to cut me. And she tried to cut me off. I'm number 2, bitch.
She said I didn't say that many words last time, so I'm trying to get all the words this episode.
Coming in.
You know what? Wait, so wait. When you said what the order was, that's what I was thinking, but I forgot that's not what you were referring to. You weren't referring to that. And I was like,
girl.
We started off hot.
Not Landy. Look, not Landy trying to Sherry Shepherd me. She's like, I'm gonna take your spot.
I'm gonna take, even though your name on the title, I'm gonna take all your show.
Says Chardonnay. Who don't nobody drink Chardonnay no more?
Right.
Don't forget, it's not Sherry Shepherd, it's Sherry. So we just talked.
Oh, right, just simple. Oh, she going by Beyonce now. She just one name. Oh man, but community, hopefully you're doing well. And as you hear, Jarrell's he had some work stuff to get done, and so we're like, hey, we'll let you have fun with the work crew. She in that corporate life now. She in that corporate world.
Busy.
Now
they're busy.
Look. And just as an aside, we do a lot of Ask Your Aunteas about relationships, but I want to throw it out there. You got a lot of industry experience that we can offer. So if you've got a question about navigating jobs, navigating or negotiating your salary, having difficult conversations with people at work or with your boss or whatever, or champion for your own growth.
True.
Let a bitches know.
Because he won't toot his own horn right now, but we literally, before we hopped on, Dawon was just talking about like his day job and just the awesome job he's doing at his day job of shifting that narrative, especially for folks that look like us, and how to those that are recruiters, those that are within management and Salesforce and things like that, of how when you are hiring and having best hiring practices, that they are inclusive of folks that look and sound like us. So she won't say it on here on the episode, but we'll say it for her. So keep it up, boo. You're doing an amazing job.
We know you are having an impact out there, and we don't know how many people are out there that are like you having that impact. Yeah. We always could use more. So it's good to know one of our sisters is out here having an impact on these jobs out there.
It's interesting in the circles of diversity and inclusion, because that's like my day job or whatever. And I don't mean to like downplay it like that.
No,
that's just
right.
My day.
My little day job.
My little day job. Because this the thing that gives me life. It's coming from podcasts and working with the community and all that stuff. But my day job or whatever, and I'm in those diversity and inclusion circles. And Carell, you even saying before we got started, it's like, man, how is it that we've been still talking about the same damn things for the last 30 years? And one of the things that I've been saying that I said was, we're starting to see a paradigm shift in corporate America as a result of many different things. George Floyd was a catalyst of a lot of it. But on the heels of that, having the pandemic, and there's all these research studies that have been coming out within the last couple of weeks. If you go out on LinkedIn or look at the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times or even CBS, talking about how people of color have been thriving in a hybrid work environment or a completely remote environment, in part because they don't have to worry about the microaggressions, the macroaggressions, the overt racism, the being overlooked. They actually are able to just focus on getting their work done and letting their work speak for itself. And so a lot of us have been thriving, behind the Zoom. And this paradigm shift is happening in D&I spaces where for the last 30 years, we've been doing a lot of educating and talking about and changing people's minds. But now we're starting to focus on practice. How do we okay,
practice?
It's great.
Sorry,
it's like, but practice, because it's one thing to intellectually say, okay, yeah, I understand that I need to use more inclusive language and start getting more comfortable and used to using alternative language and using people's pronouns, not their preferred pronouns, but their pronouns.
Yes.
I even had this conversation with my mom, just a sidebar, had this conversation with my mom like about a week and a half ago.
Hey, Ma.
Hey, Cheryl. I know she missed it. And it was wonderful having this conversation because, she was saying, Dawon, it's great the stuff that you're doing and stuff, but I just don't get this whole pronoun thing. And I said, Mom, let me break it down to you like this. If somebody that gets married and they've changed their last name, you have to intentionally think about calling them by their new last name.
Yes.
It's the same damn thing.
Yep.
It's the same. So what you're used to calling them, now you have to call them something different because you respect them. Now, if you don't respect them, you'll be calling them by their old
all kinds of names.
So it's not.
That's a good analogy.
Those,
I'm still in that one. I like that one.
It helps people to put it into the right frame, because when people are saying this is my pronoun, they're saying this is my identity, and a lot of us are stuck in saying, oh, well, just saying they and them is not grammatically correct, and with all this other stuff that's in our head. But at the end of the day, it's those are avoidances that are keeping us away from the fact that we're just not being respectful of what that person, of that other person.
When did we care about grammar? It's like all the shit we text all day and talk. Like, come on, fuck out of
here. People don't even know how to send emails these days. Half you bitches don't even know how to write a check.
Exactly. You're talking about grammar.
Grammar. Girl, please.
And.
So long story short, in diversity and inclusion and belonging to equity circles, people that are practitioners in this space, we're starting to shift our focus away from the education piece, because there's enough education out there. If you haven't read White Fragility, if you haven't used your own fingers and and gone on a Google to Google, what the hell does critical race theory mean? What the hell does intersectionality mean? What the hell? If you don't do that, that's on you. We passed that. At this point, it's about practice. So it's like, what do you do in the moment? Because people need to build up the muscle memory of having those seemingly uncomfortable conversations. If we can create environments like workshops and practice sessions and role plays and all these things that give people the opportunity to practice in a safe environment, for example, what do you do when you as a, you're just using your regular vernacular, and something that you say, you don't realize, but all of a sudden that thing that you say is offensive to a bunch of people. And our natural, and I'm as a Black person, as a gay person, we part of that too. It's not this old whitey over there, just saying a bunch of reckless shit. We be saying reckless shit too.
That's true.
So our first inclination is to be defensive.
Yeah. Right.
So do we even have the skills? I don't know. And I'm gonna stop talking because
well, you're passionate about it. Exactly. No, that's dope.
I know we talk a lot about communication skills as part of our Ask Yo Auntie advice. And the same thing applies here. We have to be mindful. Every one of us have to be mindful of our communication, and language is evolving. Yeah. It's evolving at a rapid pace. So the things that we were comfortable saying, I was watching the Real World Homecoming, New Orleans, and they were playing back 20 years ago when Julie, if you know that show, when Julie said, yeah, I wasn't really around colored people, growing up.
It's funny you say that because I was just watching this thing on YouTube with Michael Che, who's like the SNL head writer, black man, and the news update. He's like, stop calling me people of color. We picked a color. It's black.
Exactly.
I was dying. I was like, that's so true, though. It's like, bitch,
question for y'all. Question for y'all. Do you call yourself black, African American, or something else? I'm just curious. Like when you refer to yourself, what do you call yourself?
Black.
99% of the time is probably shifted more to black. I think that's maybe one that's kind of evolved in my lifetime. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I don't know if I ever, like growing up, thought too hard about it because everyone else was calling me African American. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, I'm African American kind of thing, you know? So you never put too much thought on it.
Damn NAACP, they didn't push that into everybody's vernacular.
And so, but now I probably say black more than anything. But if people say African American, I don't shoot them down. Like I'm not just like, oh, then I ain't African American, bitch. To call me black, da, 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 da. Like it's not that deep to me. If they call me some other shit, we fight. But different story. But I get the African American black thing might be a little. Like, oh, did it change? Like, what's the difference? And for me, just the nuance, because I think we said this on a podcast episode, like, even at my job, we have just like a great, we call it DEI, diversity, what's the
Inclusion and equity.
Equity and inclusion. Yeah, there we go. I was like, hold on. Team, and that was one of the sessions about African American against black. And what do you call your coworkers and what's the difference and things like that. And a lot of folks from Africa that are in this country identify as African American because they're truly like at least like first, second generation from Africa. And, you know, for me, I'm like, I even though I know my DNA is from Africa, I ain't got no, like, my parents from Georgia. So, like, you know, and so that's where I've kind of evolved to. Landon, what do you say?
Black. And so I don't know if this is going to have anything to do with it, but my grandparents on my dad's side were Native American, and I'm not talking about like the mix, like this is like Native American. And when I think about how their skin color, like how they were treated, how they were viewed, I just think back to my roots. I am very proud to say that I am black.
Yeah.
And it goes back to more pride than not identity, but more. I don't want to give it just a label. I am very proud to be black. I am very proud to be a black man who just happens to be gay, not a gay black man. You know. So kind of going back to my grandparents, I know how they were treated on both sides, and they were viewed as black. And for me to say anything else just doesn't feel prideful for me.
Yeah.
That's for me. Really quick, I know that we getting into something that wasn't even on the list.
That wasn't.
I love it though. Oops. Dawon, you brought up an interesting point. I posted this on LinkedIn. There was this article about African Americans like working from home and not wanting to return back to the office because one, not having to deal with the bullshit microaggressions, and two, when it comes down to like the hair and not having to worry about appearance and
That's funny you say that. I just wrote down weave because I have a weave story.
So in this article, it talks about how like one person was able to advance into a promotion because that microaggression within that space in their office had been dramatically removed. And I know of one company, I won't say the company who it is, it's in a good way. I know of a company out there right now, they don't use cameras at all. Everybody works from home and they don't use cameras at all. You could probably determine what nationality, race, who they are by the little circle, the little picture in their circle on Microsoft Teams. But if they don't have it, you would never know. You can assume, but you would never know. And this company is out there. They actually, a lot of governments, you could probably Google it, a lot of city and state governments contract with this particular company to operate public housing and the housing choice voucher program and HUD. So when I look at a company like that says no cameras, you could be up there in a tank top and booty shorts naked. And no one butt naked and nobody knows a damn thing.
Right. Make sure the camera's off.
Make sure that camera's off. All right.
Come on, Jesse. Come on, Jesse Williams. It's funny you say that. Like the reason I wrote down weave, and I probably shouldn't have said because I wrote down the person's name. So hopefully you can't read my writing.
See, now everybody gonna go back.
Right, be like, ooh, rewind. Ooh, because the whole thing about just being Black in corporate America office. Literally the first week we were back in the office here, I'm in consulting. So but my coworker, had just gotten her hair done. I could tell it's a weave. And actually, no, it's not even a weave, it's a wig. I could tell, the gay came out. I could tell.
Come on, wig.
But it was fine. She looked dope. But some of those microaggressions that I think people that are non-melanated get out there and say that might put people in an awkward situation. They were like, oh, I've never seen your hair like that, and like going on. And I'm standing there like, oh my God, like leave her alone. Like just hush, And it's interesting that there's articles coming out like that where people are just feeling more comfortable in their identity at the crib to do their damn job, do it fucking well, and keep it moving, get promoted. Because you don't have to deal with the bullshit of just stupid shit like that might not be culturally in your realm, but you shouldn't just be talking about her hair like that. Like, it almost made me want to chime in, and it's a new client, so I can't be in there just acting a fool quite yet. But it's just like, it makes you want to be like, oh, well, Susie, look at your hair. I've been seeing it. Did you comb it today? Why is it? It's just like,
what?
Because it's just like, it's not fair, especially to Black women like that. In our culture, they might have a new hairstyle every damn day, and that's their fucking business, But for you to like call it out in front of a lot of people that were non-melanated like that, yet they don't even know that they're doing something like that,
Right. And it's kind of like one of those things like, is that all like you can talk to us about? Like you can't like Black hair is such a phenomenon for you that you can't like find something else to talk about that is
like,
not.
You ain't seen me in this office for 2 damn years and that's the first thing.
Like, just a quick reminder out there that being Black it's not all about our hair. We don't all play basketball. I can't shoot for shit.
You sure
okay?
can.
We don't all have rhythm or booties.
So,
I know y'all like speak for yourselves.
Right, I was just like,
I'm too short today.
And we still love each other nonetheless.
Right? But there are just some things out there like, we are not all about that. So if you're listening to this, stop talking about Black folks' hair. Period. Okay? Stop talking about Black folks' hair. If you want to learn something about Black folks' hair, and I know that this is probably a touchy subject about the person, but go look at that. I think it's on Netflix, that documentary that Chris Rock was a part of about Black hair. Go watch that.
But listen to Solange's album was like, don't touch my hair. I mean, she had a whole song that like spelt that shit out. It's her crown. Leave that shit alone. We don't want your greasy ass hands out that potato chip bag you just eating. Fuck out of here. But anyway, that song was not even like on that topic. Oh, go ahead, do it.
I was just gonna say, I was just gonna say that oh gosh.
Spit it out, sis.
There was 2 things that I wanted to say. One, in defense, that's the word I was trying to get out, but it was stuck. In defense of, non-melanated individuals, I get that it's difficult navigating the boundaries of trying to be friendly and not knowing where the line is, you know, and just because y'all don't change y'all hairstyles, you know, but once every, you know, 10 years, you know, and we do
the same mullet,
you know, it can be exciting for you, you know, like,
that's
ooh, this is interesting or whatever. But I think at the end of the day, this is a general rule. It is never appropriate unless you have a personal relationship not a we work buddies.
Yeah,
no, if you have a personal relationship with
and
that,
y'all go to the same hairstylist, and
right?
You go to eat.
You've been to each other's house,
right?
You've been to each other's house,
especially for Black people. That's a big deal.
That's a big thing. So unless you have a personal relationship with the person, it is never in the workplace appropriate for you to say anything about a person's appearance at all. No. Period. It don't. Period. Not even you look nice today. So what that mean? I look ugly.
Right. So I look ugly yesterday.
Right. Like, no, it is just as a general, and take this from an HR person. I've been doing this for a long time. It is just never appropriate at all. Because what you do is because that has nothing to do with their performance at the workplace. Right. And every time there is that conversation with the person who is not an intimate friend, somebody that has a personal relationship with you, where there is no miscommunication or whatever, it leaves you and the company up to so much risk of creating a hostile work environment for the person that you think that you're being friendly for. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, I don't know what this. It smells like there's some soul food cooking in the kitchen. That stuff really does smell good. Like, you may think, but now why you got to announce to everybody out here,
and that's the part of it,
and not announce it, and so.
And community, if you don't get that joke, go back about 3 episodes maybe now. Dawon was hyped.
We have to add that with the Leviticus.
You're right. You know what? Actually, let's write that down now, because that was probably episode 169. Yeah, that might be an end of the year moment. Just the way Jarrell was looking.
Blew his eyebrows off.
Off, honey.
What eyebrows?
That was gone. And by the way, before we forget, it's almost Pride Month.
I caught that.
Happy Memorial Weekend. It's going to be the end of this week. So, you know, all that good shit. I missed it. Did we see each other moment?
Rewind.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you know, there's white folks out here with Dukes of Hazzard hair. So just because
I'm done with you.
Just because you got your Dukes of Hazzard hair going on.
She held that one for 5 minutes. She held that one. She held that petty moment for 5 minutes. She let us talk. She's like, I'm holding on to this one.
Zing. Zing. Murdered.
I don't know how this episode started off so lit. I really don't. But I am all the way here for it. I'm all the way here for it.
How we are 22 minutes into the episode already. What the fuck?
Oh, good Lord.
But all that started was because you could send additional Ask Yo Auntie questions to us outside of relationships. Let's close that circle up. And it's damn near Ask Yo Auntie time now. But anyway, quickly, Landon, I wanted to ask you, because I saw something you posted on your social media. Your family was in town last weekend, or I guess at this point, almost 2 weeks ago. And you had mentioned that you had taken your brother to Sidetrack, and it was the first time at a gay bar. How did that feel, and what was his response? And what made you decide to? Like, what made you say, okay, I'm doing it?
So I have to tell you something that my brother said a couple of weeks ago. We're talking about some family drama, an uncle who's not out. Like, dude, you're gay, but okay. But we were talking about that, and he said something.
I don't like men's no more. I've been delivered.
He said something to me that, like, he said to me, he's like, dude, I knew you were gay before you did, and I loved you then, and I love you now.
Aww.
And
is that the first time he said that to you?
Yeah. And he's known, but having that heart to heart. So my brother and my sister came into town. It was their first trip to Chicago. They are from upstate New York. They don't travel like I do. And you know, that's just them. And so automatically we just went to tracks. We went to Sidetrack, we went to Progress, and we somewhere else. I can't remember. Oh, we went to Replay. Okay. And we're in line, and I'm internally freaking out, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And we go in. It's a decent crowd. It's a Friday night, and we're having a great time. And he says, "This is my first time at a gay bar. I'm comfortable with my sexuality. I'm good." Like,
yeah.
And he was 100% fine. So one really touching moment for me was he went to go take this picture, and these two guys photobombed us. And at first, for a hot second, I wanted to get annoyed. Like, I would be like, you're touching, like, this is like supposed to be a family thing. But my brother was having such a great time. He was all for it. And I realized he was being prideful of me and the experience by having those two guys photobomb us. And it was just such a great weekend. We were supposed to go to this comedy show, but typical, my sister fucked up the tickets and bought the tickets on the wrong day. So typical of her, which, but we still had a great time. But my sister's been to a gay bar before when I lived in Boston, and he is the oldest kid, the oldest grandkid out of everyone. So he's always just been super duper supportive. He also said something to me. We're in the bar, and I was gonna go talk to this dude that I was like, okay, like, there's this dude I've been crushing on. Like, we've been locking eyes. He actually lives across the courtyard. I just found out. Ooh. He lives across my courtyard.
Okay.
So I wanted to go talk to him, and my brother grabbed my arm. He says, I'm just letting you know that if you bring a dude home, he better be cool as fuck, and he better be able to handle our jokes and how crazy we are. If he can't, he's got to get the fuck out.
Period. Yeah, that's that straight love. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's good.
So it was a fantastic weekend. They love Chicago. They were like, no wonder you live here. Yeah. They were shocked about how much walking. They were like, everybody here walks and everybody here talks to each other. I'm like, dude, this is not the hood. This is not the hood. This is not the hood. People actually venture outside of their houses.
Yeah.
It's not the Chicago that they show on the news.
Honey. But that's funny you say that, though, because it was today at work. And I was saying, who was I talking to about Chicago? Oh! It was at the train station this morning, and our cute neighbor. He's my neighborhood boyfriend. That's what I call him. That man is fine. But he was just asking. He's like, yeah, you guys used to live in like Chicago and all these places. What's your favorite? And I was like, you know what? Chicago will always hold a near and dear place in my heart. Like, I miss it all the time. And he's like, but isn't it like crazy there? I'm like, it's like any city. But then he's like, weren't they just like fighting and shooting in Millennium Park? I was like, oh, word, I missed that one. I was like, damn, it done got to the tourist places.
We had just left. So that was on Sunday.
That was
on Sunday. And my sister's flight left at like 9. So we were there up until 4. And my sister wanted to go take a picture near the King Von Memorial down in the South Side. That's a whole different story. But that we left to go do that, and we had just left. We would have been there.
That's crazy.
Wow. Insane. But like, Chicago is, I know like politicians, aka white crazy Republicans, have painted this picture that Chicago is like this big war zone.
No. I mean, there's places, don't get me wrong. Like, I've heard
that you're not gonna go.
Yeah. That, like, because my roommate, like, when I first moved to Chicago, he was a teacher in like the worst neighborhood in Chicago, and the stories he would come back with, I'm like, damn. And it's sad because like there's no money being pumped into it. There's like no hope and things like that. And that's a conversation for a whole nother day. But it's just like, yes, there are, but that's any city is my point, is what I was telling this morning. I was like, I heard the same shit here in Philly. I heard the same shit in Atlanta, the same shit in Dallas. Like, wherever you live, there's going to be, there's always going to be shit that pops off, right, wrong, or indifferent. So,
And the shit that pops off is the stuff that actually gets shown on the news, because news is less about, you know, objective information. It's more about entertainment. You want people to
get them ratings too.
You know, so
sensationalism, 100%.
Speaking of ratings, if you haven't shared Minority Report with your friend and your family and everything, come on now, help us out. Subscribe wherever. If you're watching on YouTube and all that shit, please, because we're trying to up our YouTube numbers this year. So help us out. So we need some ratings too, bitch.
Yeah. Look, put that shit. Look, if you listen to us in the car when you're driving, that's cool. But then when you get home and you're doing everything else, just turn on your Apple TV, go on to YouTube, and just play it in the background. You can mute it, listen to your music or whatever it is you want to do, but just help us.
You want to see these
brothers out.
Help us, sister out. You know you want to see these titties.
I don't even know where my list went now. Like, I'm all discombobulated.
Do you want me to take a break? Why don't we take a break and then we come back?
Yeah, we'll go back. All right, bye. We interrupt this episode for very important information.
That's right. You've been asking for it for a long time, and we have heard you.
Yep, it's been a long time coming, but it's finally here.
Yo
Aunteas
got merch! Hey! That's right. You know what? We got tees, we got long tees, we got sweatshirts, we got fanny packs, there's just a whole gamut of stuff out there, so go and check that out.
We are so appreciative of your love and support, and we are so excited to launch it. Girl, where can we find it at?
Ma'am, they can head right over to minoritareport.com to check out the selection.
That's right. That's MINORITEA report.com.
Woo! I'm about to go get me some myself. All right, ladies. What time is it?
Ask
your Yes.
Oh, let's see here. It says, "Hey, aunties, I've been dating this guy for about 2 months, and the relationship is actually really wonderful and sweet." Aww. So the other night, I found out that he used to sort of be a rent boy in a major city. Right. Used to sort of be a rent boy in a major city before we met, and for some reason, I can't shake that out of my head. He says he isn't really proud of it, but that at the time, it was, quote unquote, just a fun thing to do, and he didn't even need the money. How do I get over slut shaming him in my head? Has anyone dated a rent boy? Has anyone been with a rent boy? Ooh, what's that look, Landy?
Now you know damn well. I don't know why you asked that. Acting like
I was trying to keep your secrets a secret.
Oh, really? With that lead-in question?
I mean, he could have said no, and I wouldn't have pried at all.
You know.
But now that you put it out there, what happened?
I have no shame in this game. All right. So really quick, I have a friend, and I have to emphasize that friend. We went to DC a few years ago, and he is an escort. And there's never, ever been any sexual tension. Nothing ever happened. But on the last night of when we were in DC, something did happen. And there was a moment where he kind of pulled me over and we were kind of cuddling. And I realized that I had been labeling my friend who was the escort. I've been labeling him, my friend who's the escort, versus a human being who is my friend, asterisk, who just happens to be an escort. And it was an eye-opening moment because I said I didn't judge him, but I had been judging him by giving him that label instead of just calling him a human and my friend. I had been describing him as my friend who just happens to be a sex worker. And so I bring that up to say, it's really, if you care about this person and that's a part of his past, get that out of your mind and see him as a human, as the person that you knew and started to like before you knew that information. No one can change their past, but if you really care about this person, there are things that that were attractive about him. Go with that. No one can change their past. If he did it and he doesn't do it anymore, so what? If he was still doing it,
right, yeah.
Right? If he was still doing it, I think it's really one of those things where you just have to like look deep inside your heart and your own humanity and look in the mirror and really think about who you are as a human being for wanting to judge someone based upon what they do for their job. I think it takes a lot of self-reflection versus trying to decide if this is something that you can handle. How do I get over the slut shaming? You see him as that because that's what you have been trained and programmed to think that a sex worker, an escort, whomever, whatever you want to, is less than. That's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
come on. Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Just spit it out, sis. Come on.
I find it funny. Okay, so I can't remember what episode, Krill, maybe you might, but we had talked about this, something similar to this on the podcast. And I distinctly remember saying that, I can be honest that if it were me, if I were in a dating situation and I was dating somebody that, had like an OnlyFans or had like was a sex worker or whatever, I would have to do some similar to what Aunt Landon was saying. I would have to do some work because I know that I have, some biases, but at the same time, I just find it funny how masterful we all are at compartmentalizing. We will big somebody, our best friends and ourselves up for having a whole ass summer and fuck with everything that moves, breathes,
period.
Got a hole, got
ain't getting nothing out of it.
For free.
Ain't even getting you ain't getting no McDonald's, you ain't getting no IHOP.
But then want to look down on somebody else that at least look, if your claps ain't making no coins, then how good is your claps? So
that's a bar. That's a
whole line.
That's a bar. That's what I'm living this summer like. Don't tell my husband.
But like it's so interesting how masterful we all are. And I'll say we all because I count myself in that and compartmentalizing like, oh well, I don't know if I could really date and a lot of it doesn't have anything to do with what like who they are as a person and how they might be able to treat you, but it has a lot to do with, I think, two things. One, the perception of how you will be perceived by others because everybody's so focused about what everybody think about them. So if you come around with your new boo, Anthony, who is Anthony the Freak.
Oh, Anthony Harder? You pulled out. That's a name. There's not that many Anthony's out there. Wow.
I was trying to give a little something.
Come on, Penny.
Wow.
But you bring around Anthony the Freak from IG, and he everybody's drooling over him. But then all of a sudden, everybody find out they're a sex worker, and they looking at your man. It's less about that man and the potential for you to find something wonderful, whatever wonderful is, whether it's a fuck buddy or a boyfriend or a longtime partner, whatever. Find something wonderful with that person, and it becomes more about other people's experiences. So that's thing number one. And I think thing number two is a lot of us have very archaic and what we say traditional, I say archaic views on sexuality altogether. Yeah. And so, viewing somebody who is a sex worker or has a lot of sex or is very open about, their sexuality, nudity and whatever, having a negative perspective about that thing that has absolutely nothing to do with you and your life and how you're living, that is a lot of old thinking. That goes back to what Landon was saying. It's like you gotta unpack that.
I agree.
You don't have to do it, but just don't be looking.
But just know you got some Louis Vuitton luggage back there that's just chilling.
That part.
Yeah, I agree, and clearly, who wrote this in is still having some unpacking, just because we called it out when we read it, like just the sorta, kinda, or whatever they said, or used to sort of be, is or you ain't. So it's just like, and I agree. It's just like, even for myself, it's like I look back and it's just like, why do I have some of the views and things like that of sex workers and things like that? I don't have them anymore. I couldn't give a two shits. I'm like, do the damn thing. And like,
and show me, damn it.
And show me. I mean, it's like, give me a discount too. I'm just playing. But,
no discounts. I get that shit. I got that shit for free. But moving on.
But so it's just like, it makes you stop and think, and you realize you take on a lot of other people's baggage, a lot of other people's views, because they're not comfortable with themselves. Because again, it has nothing to do with the person that's their line of work. It's everything to do with everyone else that's uncomfortable with themselves. Yeah. And so it's just like, they, like you said, need to unpack that shit. Why do you feel that way? Your clap game ain't up to par? Then maybe that's why you feeling a little like judgmental. Or maybe, or it could even be something happened to you, whatever it may be, but like, unpack it. Because you sitting there judging them is not helping anybody out. And so if you're trying to be in a relationship, it's not going to be beneficial to your relationship if this is what you're already bringing into it. And it's not fair to that human being at all, because that shit's going to pop up at some point on some bullshit, whether it be like they just happen to flirt with somebody at a bar or something, like, oh, you fucking them too? Like, it's going to come up. That shit always comes up like that. So unpack it, and it's not fair to them, because they were cool with their job and they was getting the coin. And even if they didn't need the money, so be it. It has nothing to do with you at all. But if you know that that's not for you, get out of the damn relationship.
That part.
But if you look at starting at the question, I've been dating this guy for about 2 months, and the relationship is actually really wonderful and sweet.
Actually, that's a horrible word.
It's such an emphasis on that and what is natural and what has already taken place. And, back in the day, people used to be like, oh, what do you do? As if like a conversation starter, because it was supposed to impress the other person. Like, that's something you talk about. But that's not what this is about. This is about whoever wrote this. I'm going to tell you right now, if this relationship and this person brings happiness to your life, and they are a good person with good intentions, they care about you, the sex worker, the escort part, the rent boy is immaterial. It is not anything that I feel should be a deciding factor. I'm not going to tell people how to feel, but if you are happy, you were happy before you knew.
Yeah.
You were happy before you knew.
You're trying to find a reason to demolish this shit.
Yeah.
Or the flip side of this is that they may be concerned about bringing this person around their friends, because perhaps deep down they know their friends aren't shit. And they will be the ones knowing that this person as a sex worker, they would be like, oh, well, then I could sleep with them because, they're a sex worker. So, I can just pay them some da-da-da-da-da. So, like, I'm just saying,
I mean, then you need to get some new friends. You got to get some new friends if that's like their first, their first thought to do that shit.
But that's what I'm
Your
saying.
friends
like,
ain't shit.
when we think about like the impact, when I think about like somebody who is more concerned about what other people think. I can understand having to explain to my family or having this conversation with my family, like, because Black families go in, they interrogate, so they want to know everything or whatever. And there are ways to get around it. You can say I'm an entrepreneur or whatever, I work for myself or whatever, but when it comes to like your friends and whatnot, and friends are like internet, like sleuths, private eyes.
Okay.
And
Murder, She Wrote.
and I do understand the conflict. That's what I want to say. I understand the inner conflict that one can have about external perspectives, like, and what that could mean, and the insecurity that could exist between someone who's never been in a relationship where, during the context of their relationship, their partner, they may be monogamous while their partner is still doing sex work. And that may be something that they have to adjust to. Not to say that you should judge somebody for that, but I'm just saying it may stir up some of these other things.
And it's definitely a conversation. You got to find what's going to work for your relationship. If you're not getting what you need out of the relationship due to the job, and that's like any job. If people are like not in sex work and you staying late all the time for work and you're in a relationship and you're not getting what you need out of it, that needs to be a conversation. It's not because it's sex work, though. That happens in any line of work where you just get too busy, whatever it may be, and it might be taken away from the relationship. Yes, this one is a little different because it's physical as well. And so, sometimes like you don't want to do the same thing. You don't want to do your job at home. So we're like, damn, I've been fucking all day. Now I gotta fuck at home too.
and I gotta show out.
Right, exactly. And so it's just like, and so I get that part of it, but like I just feel it's, again, not fair to put what you haven't settled in your being on the other person because they were cool with themselves and getting that coin. You weren't complaining when you got that Birkin bag, but now you found out it was because he was a rent boy, and now you want to say some shit? No, it's not fair. And again, it's not for everyone, and you don't have to deal with it, but just don't drag that person in along with you.
Some people equate sex with intimacy and love, and that's where the source of that judgment may come. But I was talking to one of my best friends from college about my recent situation from years ago, and that's exactly
my
what he
recent
said to me.
situation from years ago.
Well, 2018. well, last year as well.
A couple of my situations. A couple of my entanglements.
My situation from years ago. My recent situation from years ago. I love that. That's funny. So she got some unpacking to do still.
Honey, nothing but Adderall, Dick, and McDonald's. But anyway, but in talking to my friend Mike about this, he said, some people equate sex with intimacy and love, and thus when we see people doing what we think is the opposite of that's where we tend to judge. That's the source of our judgment. And that was an eye-opener for me, that whatever reason he does this for, why he does this, belongs to him. I still love him as my friend. I love him as a human being. Would I bring him home? Yeah, I'd bring him home. Mom's just gonna have to deal. She'll be all right. So, like,
and it's not his fault. He's good at it.
I'm not worried about it.
We all got talents and gifts that some other people ain't got.
Hey.
Yeah. So,
if not, OnlyFans would not be the multi-billion-dollar company it is.
That's true.
Like,
that's true.
All right.
Well, continue to send your Ask Your Auntie questions to aya@minorietyreport.com or DM us. That was a good one. And Pride Month is coming up, so we always know some crazy shit pop off around Pride Month, so send your questions in. We want to know. And again, it doesn't have to always be about sex. It doesn't always have to be about relationships. It could be the spectrum that we want Minority Report to be. So send in questions that you're just curious about. Exactly. And we share a lot about of ourselves, but if there's something you're still curious about us about, and you missed a few episodes, send us a question.
We will spill the tea on
we spill a lot.
I know, it's like, damn, I said that. Like, damn.
Oh, man. Buffalo, New York, we're thinking of you. The white fragility in this country
is unreal.
Like, just as you think we might turn a corner, there's this craziness, and you see even the new, it's gonna make me boohoo. Wow. Hold on, let me gather myself. Whoa. it's sad and tough to see. Wow. Because this dude was 18 shooting up black people. And it's tough to see another generation bringing this bullshit along, you know? That, like, right when you think we might have made some progress, you just see someone younger than you doing this shit and saying the same bullshit that's been around for 400 years that is, like, completely not true. So that's tough. That's truly tough to wrap my head around still. Even though I know it's there, this dude was 18 with this bullshit. It's tough.
You know, I really hope no one got complacent and thought shit was going to be different after George Floyd. Like, and that's an unfortunate reality.
Yeah.
You know, like with this particular person who did what they did in Buffalo, let's establish some facts here that this person had staked out this location knowing that it was predominantly Black, okay? That the security guard who ended up getting killed had questioned him and said, "What are you doing here?" So there's some real evil intention here. And what really cracks me up and just boggles my mind is that this person was talking about, you know, the whole replacement theory thing. Like, you're worried that Black people and immigrants are going to take over and be the majority and white people are going to be the minority. You need to be mad at your ancestors because they're the ones that went across on a ship, lassoed Black folk up, and brought them over to America. So we are here to stay. We
murdered all the Native Americans. Murdered all the Native Americans with them damn disease blankets.
Period.
Not the sip of water though.
That's a real ass statement.
That's a whole fact. So it's mind-boggling to me that white folks want to get mad about what Black folk and minorities do. We are here to stay. You are not going to go into a supermarket and think that you're going to destroy us. And
he came out alive.
Yeah. Of course he did. Of course he did.
Drove 200 miles to do this and came out the supermarket.
But if you got a supposedly
and they probably gave him a
counterfeit bill, if you supposedly got a $20 counterfeit bill, allegedly, you get a fucking knee on your neck.
Honey, don't pick up a Snickers the wrong way at the checkout aisle.
Mm-hmm. Don't be sleeping in your own bed, in your own apartment.
Don't be playing video games. Don't be playing video games with your nephew and check out what the noise is in the backyard.
Yeah, right. You could drive 200 motherfucking miles. Oh, it makes me boo. It breaks my fucking heart.
I think what is interesting, I think what's interesting in addition to everything that you all are saying is that, you know, we've seen this cycle over and over and over again. It's like that SNL skit, you know, when 45 won the election and everybody was like, all the white people were like, I just can't believe this happened. And, you know, and the two Black, you know, people that are in the room are like, we can. And so it's interesting that, you know, it's a commentary on what's happening within, you know, woke white society, you know, that are now aware of the atrocities that are happening and are now starting to see the patterns. Because before it was a lack of even awareness. It was like, racism, you know, we have a Black president, so racism must be over, whatever. And we continue to see, and now they are starting to also see the exact same patterns. And it's disheartening because it's like, for as many things as we do to move forward, it seems like, boom, like after a little bit of time goes past, all of a sudden we come careening all the way back to where we started and having the same goddamn conversations all over again.
Yeah.
Same trauma, same.
Yeah. And now, oh, he's young. Oh, the mental health of it. Fuck off.
Did you see, and I don't remember where I saw this, where I got it from, but if you go back to the AP News article about Michael Brown, 18-year-old black man shot. Fast forward to now, 18-year-old white teenager.
Yes.
There's the bias, no matter what, no matter how much time has passed, is still there. It's still there. And this is one of those times where, you know, we look at how capital punishment is, how capital punishment is carried out in this country, and how it affects people of color and the inequity there. This is one of those times where he needs to be federally charged, and he needs to be charged with a capital crime in accordance with the Matthew Shepard and James Boyd Act. Yeah. Now is the time for us to use that option and let him have his day in court, but it's time for him to be held accountable and send a message like, we're not going to tolerate this shit anymore.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, because it's PTSD, honestly. Like, you get so fucking triggered by this shit.
Yep.
And you go through the emotions again, and then like you don't want to become numb and naive to this, but like a lot of times you try to, because you're tired of going through these fucking emotions. So you're protecting yourself from going through these fucking emotions every time. And it's just like, and white people, this y'all problem. It's our problem because y'all keep killing us. But it's just like, this is could you imagine if black people had the same hatred for white people that white people have for black people?
Like, honey, Fox News would have a field day.
Like, it's insanity. Like, we still keep pushing on despite what they're doing to us. You know? So anyway, I don't want to harp on too much because I know everyone's kind of been triggered about this the last week plus, but obviously we had to talk about it, and we're just tired of talking about it. Like,
yeah,
it's fucking bullshit. So
let's talk about Star Trek.
I was about to say, y'all been watching Star Trek? Yeah.
Look, me and Landy we've been having
y'all little Star Trek dates.
Yes.
I was texting Landon one night. He's like, "Well, I'm watching Star Trek with Dawon right now," or something like that. I was like, "Okay, I'll talk to you later, then, girl."
Yep, sure did.
Yes,
sure did. One of the reasons why Dawon and we just have this love affair, but if there's one thing that I really do love about these new series is going to be queer POC representation that we didn't see in the 80s and 90s when the first Star Trek phenomena first came out.
Because let there be a big ass universe and there's gay and black people in the big old universe. You can't even imagine that. Like,
right?
That's what kills me about the old versions. I'm like, y'all couldn't even give that. Y'all imagine these crazy looking creatures, but none of them can be black or gay. Fuck out of here.
Right? But if you look at back in the 90s during some of the Star Trek episodes, there's really only 2 episodes that really deal with sexuality other than heterosexuality. And it's a Star Trek episode in the Next Generation when they talk about there's an asexual race. And then, asexual. And then there's another episode, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, where one of the cast members is female and her previous host was a female. So now you've essentially have a lesbian relationship. And that was the first on-air kiss between a same-sex couple on Star Trek. And so now we've got a person of color who is a captain, black, Sonequa Martin Green. We've got 2 on the same series. We've got Wilson Cruz and Anthony Rapp, who are a couple.
Wilson Cruz could get it still, by the way.
Oh, he is fine.
He can still get it. He's been around for like 95 years, it feels like, and that man can still get it. So, Wilson.
So fine. So fine. And then you've got Star Trek Picard, which now has Jerry Ryan. Hey, Jerry, I'm your fan. I'm your number 1 fan. And Michelle Hurd, Michelle Hurd is black, but they play a lesbian couple they are together.
Yeah.
And it's just so refreshing to finally get that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And My dad was a big Star Trek fan, so like I do hold it near and dear than how probably you both even know, because that's the only gifts my dad wanted growing up. Was like we had like the VHS set. And every year for Christmas, he'd be like, just continue to add to that set. So he's just like, I need season whatever, I need Deep Space Nine whatever. And so literally at the house, still in his office, has like a bookshelf with all the Star Trek stuff. And like, and to this day, like, well, I don't even know where the book is now, because it was at my grandparents' place and they're both dead. So I'm assuming one of my aunts has the book. But there's a picture of my dad, and I think he said like 4th or 5th grade, and he called it his Star Trek shirt. And he calls it that to this day. He's like, my Star Trek shirt, and that I wore it to school in my school picture that year. So like, so it's funny to hear you two talk about, because like, okay, yeah, he loves some Star Trek. Oh, you in your convention? Sorry, I cut you off, Dawon. You were about to say something.
No, I love where Star Trek is going. I love the whole franchise of Star Trek, because it's all about, like I wanted to say human, but it's about individuality. It's about appreciating us for our differences, finding common ground, right? And really exploring what the universe has to offer, in terms of adventure, challenges, and all these kinds of things. And so, these are like universal messages. And in the midst of that, you get to, explore these different characters and their backstories and their relationships and friendships with one another. And you just get to see, an incredible amount of diversity since its inception, since the very first series. You've had people of different colors and races together since Captain Kirk, back then, all of these folks working together in harmony. And this is a legacy that's just so refreshing. And I love the fact that we've gone through a Star Trek drought for the last 15 years, damn near. And so now we've got three different shows within the franchise. We've got Picard, Discovery, and Strange New Worlds. And it's becoming kind of like a little bit of RuPaul's Drag Race, because it's like 24/7 every single year, every single season, we've got something to look forward to. But it's so nice, for those of us that love this genre of sci-fi and adventure and all of that, to be able to see that investment and that kind of fantasy come to life, but also to see the diversity that's on screen and the diversity of the roles and all of that kind of fun stuff.
Captain Picard, back in the day, could have got it for sure. Even now, I'm like, this little 80-year-old man might still be able to get it.
And I actually love the fact that he's really like besties with Ian McKellen, who's also gay and in his 80s and whatnot. I love that.
It's a cute relationship for sure. Go ahead.
Really quick, I think when you look at a part of Star Trek in general, it gives people like us hope for the future, because Star Trek is supposed to be about, okay, so poverty, war, crime, all of those things have been solved, but there's still so much conflict out there past those things. And when you look at having a captain who is a black woman, when you look at all of these relationships and characters, it gives hope for the future.
Who changes her hairstyle, so you get to see that coming through as well. Sorry, Boo. Continue,
I think it's okay. I think I think it gives people like us hope that one day that we can live like that. That too. Actually, there is. Go ahead.
It's wild because Ronald Reagan once said that it would probably take an alien invasion in order for the people of the world, of Earth, to bond together.
Well, he said that because he was killing us.
I'm just saying that, you know, one of the things, piggybacking off of like what Landon was talking about, like in terms of like the hope for the future, part of our own internal despair is that we're still fighting over bullshit, just like what we were talking about literally 5 minutes ago, fighting over bullshit, you know, and the opportunity to have to have aspirations for something that's bigger than the bullshit that's sitting here, you know, racial bullshit that has nothing to do with like that has everything to do with melanin count and don't have anything to do with who you are as a person. You know, it's bullshit.
The only bullshit I like is party and bullshit and party and bullshit and party. Sorry. Quickly, Landon, best Star Trek series out of all of them that's ever been.
Pick one. You can't ask me that. One. You can't. I would say I love Voyager.
Okay. Dawon.
Damn, that is such a question.
That's real hard. That's real hard. I would say Discovery.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
I only know the Next Generation. That's the only one that I watched consistently because my growing up, that's what was on. And like my dad was watching all the time. And then it was the only one that my mom would sometimes watch because she liked Whoopi Goldberg. So if it was a Whoopi episode, she's like, okay, I guess I would like struggle through this. But other than
Whoopi
that,
shows up in Picard, so
that's what I heard.
And
that's what I heard.
There's also a actor out there who, not to give anything away, but there's an actor out there who portrays Whoopi Goldberg's character in the past, and for it to give more exposure to younger Black actors to pass that torch and to give them that experience, that exposure, to get them on screen is so big. To have a new Guinan, if you will, is big because that's such an iconic character. So I'm finally glad we got to talk about this because Dawon was like,
172 episodes, man. Never talked about Star Trek.
Dawon was like, do we talk about this? I was like, oh yeah, we're going to talk about it.
I know I came from that meeting, my phone was blowing up. What was it? Star Trek and loads. And that might be the title of the episode.
Wait, where did the loads part come from?
You said you said loads.
Loads of episodes. No, loads of things to talk about. Loads of things to talk about.
This is what, you know, I don't delete shit. So Carell goes, I got one meeting to wait, no, before that. So Dawon goes, I said, we're gonna talk about Star Trek. And Dawon goes, of which there's loads to discuss. And I go, loads. And Carell goes, I go to one meeting, come back to Star Trek and loads.
That's it. Oh my dear Jesus. It's like shit. But quickly before we get out here, Drag Race just premiered. Like we come out Monday, so it just premiered a few days ago on Friday. I watched the sneak peek today because I couldn't wait. I think it's gonna be a great ass season.
I think so too.
Oh my God.
I honestly think that it's not going to. Everybody has their favorites.
Yeah.
Well, not everybody, but a lot of people have their favorites and they think who's going to win. But I think I said this the last time we talked about this. It's going to come down to the rules of the game.
Yes.
And I don't think that this is going to be a traditional like competition where it's just going to be about who does the best and the challenges. There's going to be something in here that's going to tilt the scales in terms of how whoever gets, whether they get voted off, whether they have to sing, whatever it's going to be, that it's
better be better than this chocolate.
Girl. We can't go through that again.
So a couple of things. One, this season consists of 12 episodes, so at least we know there will be 12 weeks instead of 12 years, like last season.
Praise Jesus.
So you know it'll be a nice thing to kind of begin summer with, something to watch, something to talk about. Do you guys, ladies, whatever, have a favorite, someone that you're like, ooh, I want to see them get to the final?
Yeah, I do.
Who is it?
mean, like, go ahead.
For me, like, and I'm just gonna preface it by saying, with this lineup, I would be happy with any one of them being in the finale. Yeah. I'm just gonna say that. But the one that I absolutely would love to see in the finale and potentially win this is Raja.
And she's been serving the fucking looks all over the TV right now. Like they're everywhere right now, so they hyping up this season.
They've been on the
View,
whole
media circuit.
They're doing everything. Good Morning America, everything.
Honey.
And no shade to any of the other contestants. No shade to even Jinx, who's been there nearly as long.
Now that was shade though.
No, it wasn't
Jinx.
No. I'm saying that because because my personal reason for selecting Raja is because she hasn't been like Jinx, hasn't been in the on the scene. She hasn't been like online or whatever, but she hasn't been in the mix of all these other things. She hasn't been back to the runway for a very long time.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute.
And she has always been somebody who has a very unique personal style that really, like, she was the first fashion queen of the franchise. And so, I'm excited to see her evolution. And when she was on, for those of you that know or watch or remember, back then, almost 75% of their challenges were sewing challenges. Yeah. They had to make their own shit. Yeah. So this will actually be the first time, unlike Jinx Monsoon and whatnot, she had a couple, but it wasn't as many. Those that are older, in the earlier seasons, this will be the first time that you actually get to see her full aesthetic.
Hopefully she make it.
Hopefully. So knock on wood.
Right.
What about you all? What do you think?
Based on, just because I've been watching the whole media tour, based on a lot of the responses, they were all shocked by Evie oddly. And they're all saying like Evie's painting this season. And I keep trying to listen to like keywords because I'm like, oh, they're about to let something slip to see who's making it a little farther. Everyone seems to be shocked by Evie. So I'm like, okay, at least Evie might be making it a little bit. I would love to see Evie again, just because I feel like, I love Shea Couleé. So I love her. But I just feel like Evie is just so different than the rest of those queens. And I'm still loving push, especially now because everything is just so glamour. Something that still is a slight different perspective. Yeah. Because as much as I love Shea, she's a look queen at this point now. Like some of them have gotten just so big that they have to be look queens. Because if you came with some Joanne Fabrics bullshit, you're gonna be called out on social media real quick. So
that's why Juju B ain't here.
That's a word though.
There's so much pedestrian drag.
Right. So Shea's been on like Valentino, like Jada, like, is a look quick. Like all of them have gotten so big, and rightfully so. They're fucking incredible. That I still feel like Evie, even if she has more money, might be able to elevate her oddness of it. So I think I'm rooting for her. But again, if anyone wins, I'm gonna be happy. And I think Shea's probably my number two. Like I'm always gonna root for Shea. I love me some Shea Couleé. I just love what her drag stands for. Like she always has a hint of blackness in it. Her and Monét. Always their drag is a little more of a love story to Black women, and that's, if I were to do drag, is the perspective that I'd probably come from, probably even with like a little church twist to it, because that's what I saw week in, week out, is the fashion show of the church. So
come on, fan.
So I love that. But I think I'm rooting for Evie, I think, at least as of now. We'll see how the season progresses.
Landy, what you think, girl?
I don't have a favorite or anything like that, because none of the people that are on this season were people that I was rooting for before. So it's going to be really fresh for me to just a different perspective. You know, I'm always wanting someone black to win, so I'm just going to put that out there. But I will say, I didn't like in the one All-Stars 4 where there was the double win with Trinity the Tuck and Monét exchange. I didn't. I felt that was a little too convenient.
It was a cop out.
Yeah.
Right. So,
and honestly, Trinity probably should have won that season.
I kind of agree.
I think she edged her out a little bit.
I kind of agree.
So, and a part of me wanted Asia O'Hara to be on there because she fucked up that one finale.
But she ain't a winner.
I know she's not a winner. I know. So I don't necessarily have a favorite per se in this current cast. So I would it's going to be interesting to see who really, like, the winners of the winners, who really is the winner of all the winners. Honey.
Yeah. I would be. The one thing that I'm curious about is what I think, who I think are the underdogs right now, which is Monét Exchange and Jada Essence Hole.
Oh, maybe Jada.
No, there's.
Jinx. Wait, did you say Hole or Hall?
Hall. I think it might have came out. I think I might have did Oreo.
Right, Euphoria.
But Jada Essence Hall. Because a couple of thoughts were kind of rushing through my mouth at the same time. There is a lot of online support for Jinx Monsoon. And that's so true. a lot. Like I'm in a RuPaul Drag Race, whatever it is. So
she smells
there's
like
a lot.
Yes.
So it'll be pretty interesting, like I said, to see what the rules are, because you know, if it doesn't boil down to the lip syncs and it boils down to what the challenges are, and it boils down to some kind of like, you know, like team voting, some kind of whatever, it could sway a lot. And I tell you, the one challenge that I am dying to see is Snatch Game.
Snatch Game is gonna be fire.
All of them.
It better not be like last season where everybody had the elimination gangbang. Like, not cute.
No.
Yeah, last season was terrible. Yeah, no, Snatch Game is going to be fire.
Well, these girls know how to play it, though. These girls
and I'm looking forward to Rue's outfits, because Rue's going to be like, damn, I can't let these hoes outstage me, because you know they're about to turn some looks on these stages. So I can't wait to see what Rue does.
And last season, we even called it out this last season. Her like outfit game has completely changed. I don't know who her stylist is or whatever, but she's been stunting on the runway.
Like, I'm still hanging in here. I'm still going to be the top supermodel of the world, Craig.
Yes. She's been playing around with different silhouettes. She's been showing a lot more leg, because, you know, for like about 3 seasons, she'll wear a ball gown every damn day. Like, come on now. This one pink, that's one purple, this one yellow, this one.
It's true.
Come on now.
Yeah, she's been experimenting with color of hair too a lot again.
Yeah.
So we'll see. So I'm excited about it. Obviously, by this time we would have seen the first episode. So buckle in. We're about to talk about it. If you thought we talked about Drag Race a lot in the past, we really about to talk about it, because this is like the stars of the stars.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna be disappointed if they suck at life, though. Ooh, if they do some bullshit chocolate thing again, I'm gonna be mad.
Yeah, they can't do that.
What were you saying, Landon?
It's a whole different subject. Am I allowed to do that?
Well, we at the end of the hour. We got like 2 minutes. What's up?
So no, we got you said Memorial Day weekend. What is
Memorial Weekend. So thank you for everyone that serves, by the way, for Memorial Day. Thank you. Because that's not my ministry. I've said it many times before. And so I've had military people, or have and had, I should say, military folks in my family.
Thank you.
So thank you. That's a different skill set that I just don't have. Like I'm built for that life, and so I appreciate that. So happy Memorial Day! And what are you guys doing for Memorial Day? We'll maybe end with that quickly. Any big plans?
Dawon?
No, you're chilling. You're not gonna go to like Rhode Island or anything like that either? Wow,
crickets. He's like,
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna be hanging out here, so I have no plans. We might barbecue. You know, got the grill out today, so that's cool. But
that was a black ass answer. We might barbecue. My barbecue. Might throw something on the grill.
Look, don't let my 23andMe fool you, and my DNA results fool you.
It's like the DNA I did get said we're gonna barbecue.
That's right. Wow. What about y'all?
Funny. I'm barging in on Landon's vacay. It's his birthday, by the way. Happy birthday, boo.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you. I don't want any gifts.
Good, because I didn't get you none.
Good, because it'd probably be cheap anyway. You just moved. And
the amount I'm paying on this damn flight.
Literally, I'm surprised you didn't have to give up both balls and a kidney.
Honey,
because these flights are not for play.
These flights are
they are making up for the last 2 years.
It's ridiculous. I'm just really excited. A couple of us, there's like 14 of us going to Palm Springs, and we got 2 separate houses, and I'm just really excited, finally having a decent birthday, but excited to just be with friends. Like as I get to 39, close to 40, I just, the material things, I just don't care. I just, the best presents are not wrapped in paper, they're wrapped in love. And just having friends, being in a great spot. There's also a little thing where right before the pandemic, Carell, myself, Josh, and Mark were literally living it up in Palm Springs, and then 2 weeks later, shut down.
That shit down.
So it'll be nice to kind of come back together and kind of have that little mini reunion. Like, it's been like 2.5 years. So Palm Springs for Memorial Day weekend, sis, honey, get ready for the scandals.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna go, because when he first initially asked me like months ago, I was like, no, like I'm moving. I don't know what my life is going to look like. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And of course they start to twist that arm like, bitch, what you doing? Bitch, what you doing? And I just finally booked something like a week ago. It was because I was looking at it over time too. And I was like, these prices are stupid.
Crazy.
And I was like, I could go to Europe for this shit. But I was like, I do love me some Palm Springs. So I'm going to do that. And then actually I'm going to go home. So Corey's niece, she's graduating that following week. So I'm literally going to fly from out there home, see my parents for a few days. So actually in 2 weeks, the episode, you'll see me at my parents' crib. Because
is it high school or college?
High school. And so she's the first, she's the first niece to kind of graduate. So it's a big deal and all that stuff. And they're doing their graduation party and invited like 500 people. I'm like, the fuck y'all inviting? But
people, damn.
So since I was going to be in Michigan, I was like, okay, you know what? Let me kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Go see the family, go see my folks, work from home, remote that week, and then that weekend be done with Corey's family and for the niece. So I'm excited for Memorial Weekend because I just need a break for a second.
I'm glad I twisted your arm to come. I was like,
I know.
I was like, I'm gonna get her. I'm gonna get her.
Honestly, I almost thought about going to New York. Like if I wasn't going out there, I was gonna be like, Dawon, what you doing? Because Corey's gonna have to work all weekend.
I literally just forgot about this, but my sister and her boyfriend and my niece are coming, and my niece is gonna be spending, but they're not staying the whole weekend. They actually fly out on Saturday. That's why I didn't equate it with the whole weekend. Gotcha. So they're getting in on Thursday. Okay. And my niece is going to actually stay with me. My sister and her boyfriend are going to stay in Brooklyn, but my niece is going to stay with me. So this will be her first time, staying with Uncle Dawon or whatever. And I'm super excited about that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
But for the rest of the weekend, no plans.
Laying low.
Yeah.
I haven't even looked at the weather yet.
I got a rooftop to enjoy. So as long as the weather is popping, that's what I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna be up there luxuriating.
I know that's right. I know I need to get out to New York this summer. By the way, and we'll get out of here on this note. The US Open tickets go of sale, Dawon, I think June 1st, I think it is.
Yep.
So let's talk.
I'm down. I always go to the quarterfinals or the semifinals.
Yes.
So yes.
Absolutely.
Because that's usually Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
Is when I usually go.
That's true. Something was going on Labor Day weekend. Oh, Linda, you were talking about and we just conversing now. You were talking about the Pines and all that shit. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. Shout out to the U.S. soccer team for getting equal pay with the men's soccer team. That's fucking fly.
Yep.
Dope about damn time. And then there's some other articles that we'll save maybe for next week. But it does look like the ex-Minneapolis police officer, he pled guilty for the George Floyd manslaughter death. Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
I think it was Thomas Lane. Lane.
I wasn't going to say his name ain't even worth saying.
I know.
I see it in the headline here.
I know.
Ain't worth me saying. But so hopefully he gets the fullest extent of the law, lock that motherfucker up forever.
3 years.
That's it?
That's the plea agreement. I know.
Let's move on.
Community, have a good Memorial weekend. Stay strong. Be safe.
Bye, guys.
Be safe.
Thank you for having me.
Wash your hands, wash your legs, wash your ass. And if you got cute pictures, send them our way. We'll post them on the stories. Ciao.
Bye, guys.